government says that it recognizes that there are a number of regular visitors from mainly European countries who enjoy our summer sun and add to economic activity. In a statement issued by the GCIS, government says that the visitor list is reviewed in a way that strikes a balance between saving lives and protecting livelihoods. Nothing has changed for travellers from the African continent. The latest high-risk list countries include Germany and Canada. The US and the UK remain on the list. And joining me now to discuss this further is Tshivhengwa, who's the Tourism Business Council of South Africa's CEO. Tshifhiwa, many thanks for your time this evening. What does this say about the markets that have now been excluded or added onto the list based on your observation?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. The whole issue around the list is problematic because we now have a crisis on our hands where we have Canadians, people are coming from Spain, and the Germans who have booked to come to the country. Those three countries were not on the list 2 weeks ago. Now they are high risk. What do we do with those that are arriving in the country that have booked? And they are on the plane tonight. Some of them may arrive, tomorrow morning. So that is problematic, in the first place. And that's why we've been saying as a Tourism Business Council that do away with the list. It doesn't serve any purpose if anyone who's coming in is tested and has a certificate that they are COVID-19 negative. So let's rather use that as a method of controlling the number of people that are coming in. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, there's crisis. People don't know what to do. I'm getting a lot of emails from Spain, from Canada. People are asking, should they still come or not? So the list doesn't give us any certainty and does not adequately support the recovery of tourism sector as it stands. We need to review that urgently and make sure that we don't have a situation where every 2 weeks we're introducing rules for different countries. And people would not book to come to South Africa if we continue this way.
Right, and I'm glad to bring that up because I was just wondering, any consultation with the industry and really just conversations between government and yourselves in terms of compiling this list and the update that we see today?
No, we were not consulted. We have asked to be consulted when the first list was published because we had similar concerns that, the list doesn't support the recovery of tourism. Now we have a new list. We still have the same concerns. And like I've said before, the list serves no purpose because, we can't do any business when people don't know if they're going to be allowed in the next 2 weeks or, they're going to be allowed in the next, 3 or 4 weeks to come. The booking cycle for tourism works different. People need a bit of time to be able to book and travel. What we are doing now doesn't do that. It simply means that, we are saying to people indirectly that, don't even think about it. Don't even come to South Africa. We're not going to welcome you because you don't know if you're going to be allowed the day that you're going to travel. So there was no consultation. It's not something that we sat around the table and we discussed and we said we agree with the list. We believe we could have enriched this list and we could have made sure that it supports the tourism growth. And also the methodology that's being used. We believe that we can enrich the methodology. Because it doesn't seem to take into account how many people come to South Africa pre-COVID from those countries. And also, how many people are likely to come to South Africa during COVID and, and into the future. So we were supposed to sit down and do this together, for the growth of tourism. Now we're sitting with crisis. Now we have to figure out what we're going to do with those that have booked, those that are coming into the country. The model of saying that we're going to review every 2 weeks does not work at all.
Right, and I'm glad you bring up that methodology because one of my other questions was going to be this notion that was mentioned by the Home Affairs Minister, which we've just spoken to earlier on, about the absolute numbers of the people from these countries being established. How would you then say government should establish a method that may actually work and perhaps change some of the countries that are listed there?
Look, I'll give you an example. You got to look at the country and say, well, let's just say we're using the model that government is using. However many people or infection per that country or death per that country. You got to factor in pre-COVID, how many people did we receive per month from that particular country? Then we're going to have the number. We then factor in COVID. They will say, well, how many people are likely going to come now that we're in this pandemic? Then you have the number. then you can extrapolate from that and say, what is the risk that's associated with allowing people from that country to visit South Africa? You will find that, the number is very small, or the risk is very small. Now, if we just go and look at the WHO model and say, well, your infection rate is X, your death rate is X, so therefore you're high risk, don't come to the country. It's a flawed system. That's if we have to go through to the model. But we don't support the model in any case, because we believe that, if everyone is getting tested and they're negative, they should be able to travel. And also, we should not assume that, everyone is waiting to get on the plane and come to South Africa. What we are trying to do here is to say, let's give certainty so that those that can come now can come. At least we can start to build a forward book. It means that those that can come in December, they can say, well, let me book now. I can come in December, January, February, and March. But the way we're doing it now, it gives no certainty, and people will start to go to other destinations, because we need to remember, we're not the only place that people are choosing from. There is more places to choose from, and people can go anywhere, in the world and travel, provided it's hassle-free. What we have done, we're putting more and more hassle. We're busy worrying about the other end of the equation instead of worrying of what's supposed to grow in tourism. And also to understand that we're not going to have influx of people coming into the country. It's a small group of people that's, it's coming in a controlled environment. We've got protocols on the ground. There shouldn't be anything to worry about. The same way as it has coming from the African continent.
Right, very interesting insights there from Tshivhengwa, giving us an update on the latest list that's been released by government in terms of people from various countries that are allowed into the country because of the pandemic.